What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. This channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis, man. Check this out, man. Today, man, we want to talk about some deep stuff, man, because when you subconsciously aware, a lot of things appear in this realm different. It's hard to see the world at once the way you've seen it, even when it come down to movies, man. So let's break down a couple of deep details, because when it come down to movies and you're subconsciously aware, you start understanding the occultists behind it. Like, you start understanding the thoughts and the actual feelings that was going on when this movie was created and what they're actually trying to get you to gravitate towards. So you understand it from a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, right? Of saying the thought, the feeling, and what you're going to be paying attention to. So this is the event or what's about to break down. So when it get down deep into these movies, and we starting to understand, okay, this is the reason why they call it a movie star. This is the reason why they call it a director, producer. So not only on the note of you understanding the titles behind it, but when you also understand the energy that's being used. That is what I mean by it. So you'll see characters playing out certain parts, and I'm not talking about if the person name, just say for instance, Kevin Hart. We're not talking about Kevin Hart. We'll be talking about the character that Kevin Hart was in the movie. That'd be more towards of trying to understand it from a spiritual perspective, from a speculative perspective, because anytime we start trying to dive into the being actual shoes of that person, you start missing the point of a lot of movies, right? Let me give y'all a prime example. When you watch the movie Men in Black, y'all, if y'all ever seen Men in Black 3, about how they're trying to find the Oracle, the timekeeper, and all this right here, and they understanding how they going back in time, how they going forward and stuff like that. When you starting to understand the allegory of you going back in time, going, you know what I'm saying? You ever had somebody be reminiscing and shit like that? Like, you start to have old thoughts, old feelings. So it start putting you back. So when you start understanding things from even that perspective, and it's like you living backwards, you get what I'm saying? You're not going forward in life. So it start helping you understand the whole allegory breakdowns of movies. So you'll be able to see what's actually going on. Then, from my perspective, now I come in with the conscious community and be like, you can see why Hollywood selected this movie. Just like how if we was to make a movie, right, and it's not Hollywood produced or not branded by one of these big companies, we'll, you know, it'll be in the hood, we'll have a lot of subliminals, right? Or where we'll be like, oh, I couldn't get this to go because they ain't let me, or because they took my show, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We'll be trying to get our point across. What they be trying to do is try to show us what they want to do with the world, or a lot of times when they see a person that created this type of movie and scenery, they'll take the ideal, and of course, buy the ideal is basically how they'll do it, because they'll pay you for, you know, the thought of your movie, your film, or whatever. So at the end of the day, this is another thing, what we be meaning by selling out and buying out. It get deeper than what a person actually think of when you hear it from the way that they teach us in the movies. It's not like they're going to try to give you the direct pitch. And one thing about them, they do allegory. So it's not direct. Anytime you start thinking that is direct, that is when you start getting lost, especially like when somebody say Jesus walk or anything like that. So a person actually looking for a person to be walking. You get what I'm saying? Or Jesus lived. So they don't understand the allegory of saying the mental realm is life. You get what I'm saying? Or saying that the realm that you can see that's right above you, but it's the realm that you can't see and stuff like that. They don't understand how to break down the difference. So when you do and you go into these movies, you can see more of how they even came up with this character is what I'm saying as well. So I was going to do a breakdown, and I still am, about like Wonder Woman, about like these comic book characters, right? Because you remember, y'all, comic books was one of the popular things as well. So not only from a movie perspective, but comics as well. So when it comes down to all of our entertainment, as we can see, these are the things we're going to be paying attention to. So this is what we be meaning by that fifth house magic. So this is the reason why how did Leo get their energy, or however you want to put it. But at the end of the day, they're just helping us understand this is where that energy come from. Because at the end of the day, we know when you come outside, it ain't nothing but the sun and the moon. But the way that we look at it, or the way that we saying this is what's going on, the sun is basically in this setting right now. We'll call it a different planet instead of somebody calling it saying the sun moved over there. Nah. So that's another thing when it come down to allegory. When it come down to people just understanding not to take stuff too physical and start drawing it out too hard and stuff like that. It start, and that's what I mean by the conscious community in the beginning. They'll start saying like, oh, it's just a devil movie, it's a devil worship, da, 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 and they been ran away from it, and been missed the points, and been scared themselves and killed the magic from it. So, or been trapped themselves under a magic spell, basically like a spellbound, like how the Bible written, right? Like how if you don't know how to read it, it sounds like a bunch of humans and shit. And if you reading it that way, it's gonna contradict itself. Even though it tells you it's a spiritual book, and even though it tells you how human was created, and then it kind of got off of it, and then it explains a separation of threes throughout the whole Bible. Like, people just don't understand it. They just don't want to understand it. So then when you have the New Testament versus the Old Testament, they make it like it's something completely different, but don't understand it. It's the same cycle, but it's a new timing. And then they don't understand time. So when we get down to a lot of these things, a lot of these movies, a lot of times the conscious community, they only know one way. They never try to lower it both ways. So you ever been inside Masonic Lodge, you see how the black and white on the floor? It's the same thing. It's duality, polarity. So they trying to look at both of the sides. So you might be trying to draw out a square with only one side, two corners. Basically, the side you see it or the side you thought. You get what I'm saying? But you don't know. And then this is the reason why they be talking about the truth is the only side and all this, that, there. And you always see the movies where it's someone that have to find the truth about what happened, ancient knowledge being took, things like this, where this one warrior has to be the one to go find the ancient knowledge. But really, it'd be an allegory of just like you saying that you're the person that has this wisdom that's hidden in a tomb, or that's hidden in your mind that you're not active to, due to you with taking so many stones or being outcasted by this world. So a lot of times people end up growing and changing and trying to be more presentable to what this world call presentable person, or how I'm gonna say, a civilized adult. And a lot of times that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. And I was just talking to my girl about this the other day, just off topic real quick. The same nerds, the same people you used to see doing weird shit in school, those same people that got positions of power right now, when it come down to them talking about money and having like a business, probably running Ford, own a Dodge dealership and stuff, these be them same kids. And it don't be nothing different. When they be 17, they were just doing that weird shit in high school. Now they just grown now. And now it just seem a little different because they grown. But otherwise, nigga, it all been the same still. So when it come out of that, what I'm saying is, these people make intellect and the way that you pick up things seem like you have to come to them for it. So when you come to them, they give you what they want to give it to you. You get what I'm saying? They don't have to give you but so much. But when you subconsciously aware, you just like them, when you starting to understand both sides, why is the powers that be controlling the world? How is they doing it? Fuck you talking about why they're not doing, why they keep doing it. Figure out how is they doing it. So now you see how, from a mental perspective, of why they call themselves mentalists and all these other things, why they call themselves psychologists, and they're really not helping you. They're really making your mentally more disturbed, because they don't understand the psychics. They don't understand the zodiacs. And if they do, they'll point you someone that purposely know your junk. So they're curving you to a position where you'll be happy with what you're supposed to be fixing on, basically. So instead of you be like, oh man, by me having the moon in Virgo, I need to stop worrying so much. You'll be like, nah, see, the reason why I be worried is because that's how the world is. No. You have to understand the moderations between it. So they be understanding that people don't understand moderation, that it takes this and this. So they be trying to weigh it out to only seeing the light. People want to see only what they feel like is right or the truth. So these people bend the truth and change the truth the way they want to stretch it out. So now when a person is trying to engage into some things that by them already being traumatized by having so much truth hidden from them, they don't know how to react. And there's like a whole bunch of conspiracy theories and all them type of stuff there. And a lot of times it don't make sense. Like, a lot of times it really don't, from the perspective they getting at. But it do be a reason why they're doing it. But it just don't be that petty ass reason. Like, they have they're going according to time, just like everybody else. The energy you feeling, they already know what you're about to feel. So they already produce a movie in the future, or produce something where a generation is feeling this type of way. So you got movies that be generational movies, right? Where you got generational gaps, where they got a movie back in time, or they got a movie 2,000 years in the future. And you know, this is the get ats about those, to show how time has changed. So they always show a person too, be like, yo, the times is so different or whatever. Or they'll just have a movie based off of these times, but as you being in a modern time, you know this ain't how things is no more. So you'll understand the allegory behind it. You'll be able to like, damn, bro, I ain't know this what that meant in the movie. So the whole time, it was just trying to tell us, as you're gonna be a man that seek light, be careful, because you don't want to be blinded or stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? By trying to search this one goal, and that wasn't even what you're supposed to be doing. Like, y'all ever had those movies where a person is like, I like those type of movies too. That'd be like suspense, where they trying to get at a certain thing, but It's like a code that you got to crack. That's the same shit going on in his life. It's like a code that you got to crack. And by these people being the ones that put the locks or the codes or the restrictions on us on this earth, which make it like a jail or a prison planet, by us not just having our own charkers or our psychics to learn about, now they have control to tell us what we should be learning, how we should be learning it. So now when you look into a movie, only way you see it is physical. Just like they do with a how I'm gonna say, a fun point of view with like Disney and stuff. So they had their whole way of bringing the television. We thinking it was something, okay? They finna entertain us, and that's the problem we got to worry about. When they entertaining us, that is a setting. You get what I'm saying? You know how the king and the queen getting ready to come out, and you got the jester or whatever? That's like a setting. They come with the jokes and shit, and next thing you know, they present this to us, and they want us to accept it and relate to it, and then they want us to basically bring it in, start sharing life, death, all this shit with it. And it's just like how they doing with AI. You get what I'm saying? It's like they always do this type of stuff just for us to be off guard, just for us to be hit, thinking there's more out there that we don't know of. So it's always like a hidden truth. But no, it ain't no hidden truth. Y'all stretch out lies and keep digging. So when a person's just trying to understand something from a regular perspective, their whole mind be washed because of the damn world and the people that's around you telling you that ain't right, this was right, don't question God, all this crazy shit. So now when you grow up and you look at movies, you're looking just like a regular Disney kid, even if you never watched Disney. That's what I'm breaking that down for, because a person be like, what if you never watched Disney? Yeah, but you like the science. And science told you everything with shapes, even planets and stars. So even though you ain't never seen Saturn or never seen Uranus or never seen these planets, you still see these shapes and say only because of what? The knowledge that they presented to you. Not nowhere else. You can't see it with your own naked eye. So this is why we know people take knowledge even if they could go outside and see it themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the Weather Channel. It's all that type of stuff. Like, they'll believe it in seeing the truth. But a lot of times, you know, people don't want to face the truth. So they rather go behind what they can hide behind. So instead of them having the light then they want to go into darkness. They don't want it to be light then. But anyways, man, it's just, you know, when you start looking at things, you can actually see the beauty behind it, even when they try to make it ugly. That's basically what I'm saying. You know, and they like to try to get at things and make people get distracted, because that's what's been going on with me, y'all, a lot. It's not like you going, bro, with the spiritual intel, you're not running out. It's not like you got to question nobody. You ain't got to go to Google. You ain't got to do none of that. So you're not running out, especially when you can walk outside and see exactly what everybody else is seeing. Y'all see the sun and the moon, right? That's what I be seeing. So when it get down to this, understanding it, it just be crazy, because they'll see a person like me, and, you know, we see us doing our thing and really coaching and really, like, helping people get back to themselves and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? And they'll make a motherfucker busy as hell, play with the views, and it be so much that a person has to go through, and you don't really notice. Damn, because of the viewers and shit, it changed a lot of things to a person that's a bot mind. So from our perspective, we don't care about the views, but at the same time, we know anything could catch attention. But for some reason, when you talk that real shit, they block the attention from coming over there, because we already know anything can catch attention. I was just watching a movie earlier, and basically in that movie, Cat Williams was like, if somebody shit on the floor, 1 million people will view the floors. Ain't that views? You get what I'm saying? So like a million people will watch a piece of shit. So at the end of the day, you will see these contents that don't mean shit or valueless in life, and don't help people get educated, don't help people find these psychic abilities, help people be more aware to themselves. And that's why you have so many mental problems that's actually going around, because people don't understand how their mind actually works. So they're getting in their minds and they crashing and they just going everywhere. So man, at the end of the day, that's what it's left to deal with. It's never, if you read the Bible correctly, you will see that it's never going to be a time, and just like in the movies and shit, it's always going to be that group that's slaves. Even though, like, somebody got to build the buildings. Somebody got to make the roads according to how y'all want the world directed. That ain't mean somebody have to do it. So when we be saying slaves and shit like that, they didn't mean it physically, but the way that people break it down and put it in movies, that's about the only way it's going to play out to your mind when you don't know no better. You get what I'm saying? No better than it's just being more than the physical, more than the mental. You got to think about the spirit. And now the only way we could correlate something to nothing is explaining and drawing out actual shapes, actual signs, actual symbols, actual hieroglyphics. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, this is the way that we break things down. So you got, if everybody find themselves, they'll have different worldviews, how they bring this shit amongst the world, coming from this part, that part, that part, because you won't have a cover or a blemish of what this world governor the one that's trying to rule and call themselves God, you get what I'm saying, try to rule, because that's not them, but they try to fall in that energy. And a lot of people don't understand. They try to play the role of God because it's an energy in that case for them. But y'all know it's more ether. You got all this. You got more. You know what I'm saying? When they get down to breaking it down. But at the end of the day, God don't like to be mentioned with none of these things, places, people, none of that shit. So at the end of the day, that's just what it is. But like I said, just to help to draw the picture. Just like in movies. Like, how I'm going to show you a movie and there's nothing on the film? So I got to draw out, magic for you. I'm going to probably show you how this person trying to build their life. I'm going to show you what this person need to value. I'm going to show you who's around this person, their surroundings, who they got to talk to, how they got to move around their surroundings. You get what I'm saying? In the movie, how one person get happy, but he can't be happy around this person. You got to have that Gemini type energy. And in the movies, they be breaking down each way of act. And sometimes you look at the main character as playing the sun going into each house, or look at it as being another planet going into each house, depending on what the movie is based off of. But 9 times out of 10, if it's starting off like that, it's going to be, you got the masculine ones being the men that supposed to go to war. You know what I'm saying? How he go to war throughout life, how he found out war was meant for him and shit like that. So it'll be breaking down seasonal changes and the energy that each month that we feel. That's it. And that's how we all is. That's why I hate when people get stuck in zodiacs and shit, man. But it get deep, man. And that's why I be like, man, don't even really care about it, because at the end of the day, we all got 12 houses. Your planet being there, it just make you be aware to it. As someone saying, and you already know, man, it ain't no planets being there. So we just talking about the energy shift that is in. You know what I mean? And it's just that simple. So when we go into things, like earlier I was telling my son, like, you know what I'm saying? If you seen someone, that's acting out of a character and you see them crying every day and stuff like that, and you always see them in their emotions, and you seen, like, if you seen a little boy and a little girl fall, which one you expect to cry first? Look, simple shit. Like, even though that ain't gonna work logically for everything, but the simple fact of just telling them why some people call that man or call that guy feminine, because the way they growing up and the way I grew up, somebody just like, oh, he's feminine, that means he got a little sugar in his tank. Nah, bro. Nah, we finna break this down, what actual feminine energy is, what actual masculine energy is. So I was explaining to him about a macho man and all that, and you can see how easy it is to walk through. It's easier than them learning school, because this is trying to force their minds and shit to bend a certain way. So that's the reason why they kind of like groove your brain as you growing up. And when you get grown, it's like put the real shackles on you. Like, no, you gon' listen now. You get what I'm saying? Like, they try to be your God or that golem to stand over your head and make you feel a type of way. And I was telling people that too. When you first get out of churches, they go through little experiences where they feel like God is treating them a certain way and all the type of junk, man. But either way, not to get off topic, man, I had wanted to chop that up and throw some other little stuff in there what I can, because at the end of the day, I'm going to end up doing a whole video, end up bringing back some of this stuff up, because at the end of the day, none of it contradict itself. So it'd be all like a flowing. It'd be all like a pattern of how things going. You know what I mean? And that's how I like to do it, man. OG Drip.